that is what apparently made me to start to rethink about our intention, our priorities, how we value life, and who are true friends, and who are friends who mean good to us. Just to bring you another story, recently I had a friend who was hospitalized for quite some months, and there was also another WhatsApp group that was set to contribute to cater for the hospital bills, and people came in, chipped in, and we contributed something thanks to those who were there. And it was not that enough, it wasn't that big, and this money was transferred to my friend's account to cater for some medical bills and food and what have you. But unfortunately we lost this great friend of ours, and to my surprise, by the time we had announcement that this great friend of ours was hospitalized, there was no much reaction. There was just this one WhatsApp group and one announcement to our community, and people came in, those who could and those who had the faith and spirit of doing that, and contributed. But what surprised me is when my friend passed away. My friend died, and the same day of death, what I saw on social media surprised me. All the social media status of the friends that I know, and even those that I don't know, because I have a lot of friends on Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, changed. And everyone was talking about my friend. Everyone was changing their status, and they were talking about this very honorable friend, how good our friend was to them and how close they were to them. And immediately I saw another WhatsApp group being formed, and it never clicked a second. Money started dripping in, people sending big monies as opposed to when my friend was still alive and hospitalized. So I kept on asking myself, what if we changed our WhatsApp status when my friend was still sick, and we wished them quick recoveries, and my friend read those quick recoveries, saw our WhatsApp status when she was still alive. Just by seeing this, we lift their spirits, we lift their soul, we encourage them, we make them to be tough in their hospital beds, and we encourage them to see that there is love that is existing between us and them. Big monies came from nowhere. I know at this time of the season, things are so tough. In fact, personally, as I speak to you right now, I have more than 20 WhatsApp groups that are meant to contribute money, some for our loved ones who have passed away, some for the churches, some for projects. But sometimes I personally decided not to join any WhatsApp group unless I have a verified information and I know that it's going to benefit somebody, not to benefit an individual without a purpose, not to benefit an idea that is not going to create a difference in this world. You see, we have personal things, and what advice I would like to give to people: it is not bad to celebrate a birthday. It is not bad to celebrate having conceived a child. It is not bad to celebrate when you want to get married. But if you know you cannot afford to celebrate such kind of things, stop inviting people. Stop inviting people for things that actually doesn't add up. Imagine if we could celebrate having a baby by asking people to come in, contribute some money, and you go to a hospital and you pay a bill to somebody who has just given birth, okay? Because you are expecting yours. We collect this money and we go to a hospital and we pay a bill for somebody who has just given birth. We collect this money and we give to somebody who has an idea to start a business. These are kind of ideas that are not with us, and it is so bad, and it's so it is something that I still think that we have to talk about as Africans and as especially the Kenyan community, because that's where I come from, so that at least we can know how to uplift our friends and brothers. These are things that we need also to understand, that sometimes our blessings could be our pain, and they only become our pain when we don't take good care of the blessings that God has given unto us. There are some blessings that we really need to keep safe, and we need to put people away from them, because it is the same people that we see around here that make us suffer. So this is just a message that I think I'm speaking loudly for so many people, because I've spoken to some of my friends who we happen to be in the same groups in WhatsApp. We happen to have been invited by a same link to join a certain WhatsApp, and we brainstorm. And the bigger percentage, because here I talk reality, here I talk things that people are afraid of talking about. A good percentage of friends that I know that even right now as I speak are in a certain group and they have contributed are really not so satisfied with those groups. And because we are born to please people, we are born to try to make people happy and not ourselves, we are bound to be contributing in these groups and be part of these groups just to satisfy our egos and maintain the friendship that we have had with these people for a period of time. But the truth is, it comes to a point where we have to speak the truth. These groups are not so bad, but we really need to understand as a people why we are creating these groups. Is it a group that is created for a progressive strategy? Are these groups created for a strategical plan where we look into the future, or are they created just operationally for a certain purpose or a one-time thing, like for example contributing 500,000 and consuming it on a one sitting just to give somebody what we call quote to quote a good send-off, and then once we are gone the family suffers. Once we are gone, maybe his family doesn't have your school fees, maybe this family can't even afford a meal, yet on a one sitting, on a single day, 2 or 3 or 1 week, we consume more than 500,000 Kenya shillings. Are we wise? Are we trying to think wisely? Because things are changing. The world is right now changing. So things of the past, you see, the reason why in the past people used to do such kind of celebrations, there were no such kind of contributions. People had farms and people were rearing cattle. So a man would just go to his what we call dual in Luo, cattle shelters, and pick 2 or 3 bulls and slaughter it for a burial. People would go to what we call dero in Luo. This is a store where people used to keep their farm produce like dry maize, dry beans. People used to feed their relatives and visitors and those who came to bid farewell to their loved one with those kind of things. But in today's life, we happen to be so lazy that we don't farm. So we are still wanting to do the same things these rich people used to do. I'm telling you, these were the rich people. Our ancestors, our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents were rich enough more than us today, because today we depend on our banks, we depend on our salaries, we don't depend on farm produce, we don't depend on our stores, we don't depend on our cattle, we don't depend on our flocks anymore. What we depend on is salary, banks, friends, and without going back to the drawing board and finding out a solution that is going to give us a good way on how we can do these things, we are really getting poorer and poorer by day.